I'm joined now by retired Wing Commander Musa Salmanu and Defense and Security Consultant Mukhtar Madobi. Thank you, both of you gentlemen, for joining us on Newsnight. I mean, we're here not too long ago, still, analyzing the state of insecurity in Nigeria. Let me quote what top security expert Kabir Adamu said recently. Act now, or Nigeria may fall to terrorists. Are we getting closer to actually falling to terrorists? Or is this an exaggeration of the security threat that Nigeria faces now?
Well, I think the call for acting now is not out of place. If we don't act, the consequences are there. If we don't act, the result of inaction is staring us already in the eye or in the face. And if we continue at this pace, we will be in a situation that it will be so difficult to reverse the gains that are made by these terrorists, by whatever name they go, and at whatever zone of the country. I guess when he was making that statement, he's looking holistically at the country, looking at all the geopolitical zones, having their own peculiar challenges. And if we don't act to stem the tide, we might get in a situation that it will be difficult to pull back. So it's a situation, it's grim, it's a situation that a lot has to be done, and we have to rev up the efforts. We have to make sure that we do not allow things to get back or to get even
From
worse
bad to worse.
Yeah, or how they are.
Let me bring in Madobi. I mean, you are a research fellow, Center for Crisis Communication, PhD candidate in defense and security at the Nigeria Defense Academy. What's your assessment of Nigeria's, state of security, especially when you hear Governor of Borno State, Zulum, Babagana Zulum, cry out, more or less calling for help? That look, don't allow this Boko Haram, ISWAP take over the whole of Borno.
Of course. Actually, the recent comment by Babagana Zulum of Borno State that the terrorists are gaining ground is actually based on evidence. Because as you can see in the last 4 months, from January to April, there is a security report which stated that about 26 series of attacks were conducted by these terrorists in Northeast, particularly in the Bay state of Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe. Yes, and during this time period, about 227 people were killed, and out of them, there are 22 soldiers, military personnel, comprising of 1 army commander as well as a captain, while the other 20 were normal soldiers. There are also 2 policemen among these casualties, as well as about 36 insurgents, while the other casualties were fishermen, farmers, as well as other civilians. And out of this attack, about 6 military formations were raided. For example, the recent attack that happens in this military base at Marte. Before that, we have experienced another military attack where the ISWAP as well as Boko terrorists raided military formation in Damboa, in Gamborong, Gala, both in Borno State. So also in Buniadi, we have seen also an instance where they invaded the military. So apart from that, not only they are raiding the military, some of the time they also were able to kill the soldiers, they looted the armory, and even burned down the ammo tanks. All the efforts they are trying to cripple the military operation in this northeastern so that they gain ground. So I think that this issue of terrorists gaining ground is really a matter of concern, even though the military are doing their best, because I have seen so many kind of operations. For example, in Northeast there is this theater operation Hatinkai. Come down to Northwest, we have this operation Pansanyama in order to contain the activities of bandits who are also disturbing the Northwestern region. So also look at Operation Wilfunch, trying to curtail all these kind of criminal activities around North Central, as well as Fletu, part of Taraba and Bochua. There is more instances of gun running activities by criminals. So I think really these terrorists are gaining ground, and so many security experts and analysts has hypothesized or given some reason on why these issues are trying to go back to how they started maybe in the last 10 years ago. For example, they are attributing this resurgence of this terrorist activity maybe to porous borders around this Lake Chad region. Okay. For example, Nigeria is a neighboring country to this Sahelian region. It has a border to Chad and Burkina Faso. And we have known that all these countries are now battling with what jihadis or insurgents as well. So weapons are getting into the hand of terrorists and non-state actors. So also they are trying to get their way into the Nigerian borders. So people security are attributing this resurgence of Boko Haram to this porous border. There is also another bashing of, there is this issue they are saying some part of this military fighter jet, the Super Tucanos, were redeployed to Northwest in order to contain the activities of bandits. So they are attributed. These are some of the reasons why this Boko Haram are resurging.
Let me come back to you, and thank you very much for your submission there. In spite of all the operations going on, Hadin Kai and all whatnot, that's going on in the north, we still have this situation. Let's talk about our porous borders. Countries like Niger, Burkina Faso actually take a good account of people or persons, crossing the borders, especially even with cattle. Why do you think Nigeria is a target, for these terrorists? Because we're also hearing that the foreign fighters are entering Nigeria. Address this, two issues. Why are we not able to man our borders?
Well, it's attracting because people, bad elements in society always come where they feel they have either an upper hand or there is laxity. So if they're living, first of all, the resources that are being looked for, it could be either in terms of water, it could be anything, it could be also mineral resources, it could be anything. Now, if you look at resources, those regions, a lot of desert and so on and so forth. So the natural thing is people tend to come towards where there are resources, water, it could be anything, farmlands and so on and so forth. Now, if you mix that with the fact that these borders are lax on our own part, and perhaps maybe there's an element you can take out, the element of corruption and so on, that people could easily come into our part of the border. So you find out that, and again, perhaps if you look at the illicit flow of arms and the underground market, you find out that the weapons here have more market. So if so the purchasing power is just like every other market. Right. So there is more purchasing power. If you put all those factors, you find out that the Nigerian market is very attractive, and therefore there is that likelihood that everybody will be flocked into here. And if they have a fertile ground where it's welcoming, and they have partners in crime that are going to amplify what they're doing, then you find out that it's attractive. And that is why you see a lot of people rushing in from all parts of the Sahel coming in here. One, because they can. Secondly, because there's a fertile ground. Thirdly, because they have willing collaborators.
So now there's a plan by the National Assembly to call for a security summit. Where do we begin from in solving the security challenges that we're facing in Nigeria? Because what is happening in Borno is not a Borno state problem. It's not a Benue state problem. It's not a Plateau state problem. It is a Nigerian problem. How do you begin to address this?
So the issue of National Security Summit, this is not the first National Security Summit we're having.
Unfortunately.
This is about the second that I can remember of this nature, where you had the executive, the legislature, and everyone, including security and intelligence agencies, coming together. The question is, have we done enough since the last security summit that we had? Now that we're having another security summit, what we should be looking at are those rudimentary things, actually. We have to accept and define the problem that we're facing. We cannot solve a problem that has been with us for more than 10 years or even more, since 15 years, 2009, adopting the same approach that we've been having since then. We have to accept that we are running or having a problem that is akin to a war. Whether it's declared or it's not declared, it's facing us on the face. Then what do you do when you're in a state of war? First of all, you have to ramp up your numbers. Numbers are key here.
Right.
You have to ramp up the numbers, you have to improve on technology, you have to look at the welfare of the troops, and you have to improve on accountability. We keep talking about the issues of figures in terms of expenditure in defense or security expenditures, but the question is, what are we using them for? I'm not in any way.
So if you were to be part of this, both of this question for both of you, if you were to be part of this security summit, what would you bring to the table as the immediate, the short-term and the long-term solutions to Nigeria's security challenges?
The first thing I will tell commanders on the ground is to tell the political leadership the truth.
Which is?
The truth is that soldiers, and everybody knows some of these things, the truth is that soldiers are overstretched. Now, if to solve that problem of overstretch, because if you have a soldier that has been in and out of the operation or the theater of operation, either one theater of somebody, some people are deployed from one theater to the other without enough rest and so on. If you have a soldier that has been in and out of the operation for 7 years or so, he's worn out, he's tired. Then if you have also, so you look at that, so the only way that you can solve that is actually increasing the numbers so that when people can take enough or adequate rest before they are launched back into either that same theater or another theater. So as simple as that, the issue of numbers. Then the issue of intelligence gathering, actionable intelligence, in a way that we take the fight to the enemy. We don't wait until when there is an attack, then we repel. You don't win such conflicts by sitting and repelling attacks. So, and you can only attack or you can be on the offensive when you have adequate intelligence that can enable you act. Then thirdly is issue of logistics. If we have to look at our logistics for the military. When I talk of logistics here, I will add with issue of platforms. Now, so logistics in terms of platforms, in terms of even simple things as kitting. If somebody is being deployed to the theater in the Northeast, what type of uniform is he taking? Is he taking that? So we have to go to the basics. Sometimes we think high up, but the problem that we are facing is very low, and we have to, fundamental, and we have to look at that. So
Mukhtar,
for me,
Madobi,
those will be the issues that
Let me bring you in very quickly. Forest guards, the government has approved, forest guards. But there's this issue that has been raised, foreign fighters entering Nigeria. How do we deal with these foreign fighters? What exactly is even their motive? Why are they coming to Nigeria? What do they really want? And do you think forest guards, the setting up of forest guards will, to a very large extent, address especially the issue of the ungoverned areas and even ungovernable areas?
Actually, one of the causes of this insecurity, that is issue of ungovernable space, because there are some vast territories where there is no government presence, and these terrorists used to take advantage of that to spread their tentacles. So it is a welcome development that the government is now announcing the establishment of forest guard, where they are going to induct about 130,000 troops as this forest guard in order to reclaim these territories and fight these criminals. So what I will advise is that these forest guards have to undergo some kind of series of rigorous training and retraining, so that the government should ensure that they equip them with the necessary capacity building training, the weapons, the intelligence, in order for them to be in better position to carry out these tasks. And also, apart from that, the issue of solving insecurity, me, I'm seeing it from another perspective. Yes. In as far as we have continued to empower our military while the terrorists are still getting logistics. So I think
they're even using drones, as we hear.
I will come to that. That is the modern asymmetric warfare tactics that they are using. For example, now, these terrorists, I have said it almost all the time, all the articles that I used to produce, I have said it, that the financing source of income is the major oxygen that continue to keep these terrorists alive.
So there's a need to plug
the oxygen, the funding they will continue to breathe.
Right.
No matter how government will continue to empower military, as well as the terrorists having another source of income, they will continue to terrorize the country.
We'll have to leave it there, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Okay, sir.
So sorry.
Yeah.
Wing Commander Musa Salmanu, security expert, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Me.
Mukhtar Madobi, research fellow, Center for Crisis Communication, PhD candidate in defense and security at the NDA, that's the Nigeria Defense Academy. Thank you for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you for having me.